Many of you watching this will likely have heard of Division 2, the upcoming sequel to the original Division game and a fairly well-anticipated looter shooter that releases in March of 2019. Many viewers may also be aware of the exclusivity deal between the Division 2 and the developing Epic Games launcher, which aims to compete with Steam as a platform. Well, recently, Ubisoft has begun to claim that the Switch provided a large boost to sales and can be quantified as a massive success. I would like to argue a counterpoint. My assertion is that statistics can be used to prove almost any point in existence as long as one frames and manipulates the data properly, and Ubisoft is attempting to draw incorrect conclusions and create a confirmed false positive, which if left unchallenged may have a negative impact on further PC game releases, as they view these lightning rod events to be credible and accurate. This article contains statements released recently, and I would like to highlight some very specific segments. The title reads, "Ubisoft ditching Steam for Epic caused a surge in Division 2 sales," and the article later goes on to say the following. "With this deal, we saw an opportunity to increase player exposure to our own store while at the same time supporting a partner that greatly values our games and provides better terms," said Guillemot. Guillemot? I think it's Guillemot. I'm not positive though on the pronunciation. "Early indications are supportive as PC pre-orders are higher than for the first Division, and pre-orders on the Ubisoft store are 6 times higher. We believe this deal is a long-term positive for Ubisoft." So right away, we see a confirmation that the pre-order sales for the Division 2 are higher than for the original game, and that the sales on the Ubisoft store are a staggering 6 times higher. Here is where I draw a different conclusion than the Ubisoft administration. First off, if the sales of the sequel were a high multiple over the original in their entirety, they would have specifically said so. If the Division 2 had sold twice as many copies already, Ubisoft would be shouting it from the rooftops, specifically for their investors. So the statement that there are more PC pre-orders and nothing else, that means that there are more, but not by a significant margin. Second, alongside marginally higher overall order numbers, the Ubisoft store has 6 times the pre-orders. That is not because the Epic store is amazing, that is because a very large number of players don't want to use the Epic store, but still want to play the Division 2. As a result, they use Uplay. When it comes to the Division 2 having a leg up over its counterpart in the pre-order arena, I would argue that this again has absolutely nothing to do with Epic Games, and would in fact be more exaggerated had they remained with Steam. The Division 2 is a sequel. Fresh IPs always have a harder time increasing their pre-order sales because it is a new concept, without an established user base. The Division 2 also is a bit of a unique sequel in the industry right now. All too often, video game sequels launch as a handicapped shadow of their former selves. Think of games like Destiny 2, where the original Destiny game progressed over the span of years to a position of relative strength, but the sequel launched with nothing but the bare bones of what used to exist. It has since improved greatly, don't get me wrong, but discussing launch day and soon thereafter, it's a different story. The Division 2 had the largest development team in Ubisoft history for any game, and it shows. The game took almost every problematic area within the first title and attempted to improve upon it. There are still some residual issues here and there. I won't claim that the game is perfect or even near to it, but it is a step up in many players' eyes over the first iteration, and the beta offering also had enough content to give prospective buyers a good glimpse of what would be contained. More so than any other team I have ever seen, the Division staff have internalized criticism and feedback to better shape their new material, and it may not be for everyone, it won't be perfect, again, and it may end up being relatively unsuccessful in the long run, who knows, I'm not an actual prophet, but they made efforts to improve upon what existed, and it shows. The gaming community at large is aware of this. The original game improved over the span of 2 full years, with patch after patch, update after update, and again, I won't claim perfection, or that I even enjoyed half of those updates, but it displayed an undeniable pattern of further progression and dedication. Players see all of this. They see a game that attempts to improve based on past mistakes, has the largest team in Ubisoft's history, and gave a well-rounded glimpse of content during a beta offering which undoubtedly led to a spike in the pre-order numbers. Still, another factor that must be discussed is Anthem. Anthem is currently meeting very mixed reception. The demo offerings were flawed at best, and the reality is that a lot of players were considering which game to get, since they only were planning to acquire one title during the short window in between the 2 release dates. Anthem most likely pushed a great deal of speculative players right into the hands of Division 2. To summarize all of this, The Division 2 has a multitude of factors to consider which point to higher pre-order numbers, and least of all those considerations is switching to the Epic launcher. Alongside that, with all of these factors leading to marginally higher pre-order numbers in its entirety, the Uplay sales are 6 times higher, which clearly indicates that though there is indeed a tangible influx of interest in the game as a whole, that interest is skewed away from the Epic launcher, which runs counter to the current Ubisoft narrative. Skewing a narrative with deliberate use of statistics happens all the time. There is a process called truncating in which a graph is modified to not display the full picture. By beginning and ending the graph at different values, you can change the overall reception. The first impression it gives could be flipped from positive to negative simply by isolating a certain segment or changing the focal point. It is very, very common. Another great example, though I don't mean to politicize this, sincerely, it's just a really good example, is the Obama administration during its first term. During Obama's first year as president, the economy lost some 5 million jobs. Unemployment skyrocketed, and I'm not making a case against him or his political views, just bear with me. During Obama's re-election campaign, however, against Mitt Romney, he claimed that during the last 30 months, the administration had facilitated the creation of over 5 million jobs. The thing is, 30 months isn't his full term. If you encompass the entirety of his first term, which dates back further and includes his first year, the administration only saw job growth in the range of 100 to 200,000, since the first year lost roughly 5 million and the last 3 built them back up. But saying in Obama's full term the economy gained 200,000 jobs, that doesn't pack as much punch as saying in the last 30 months under Obama the economy gained 5 million jobs. See what I'm saying? On the opposite side of things, Mitt Romney, Obama's opponent, was doing the exact same type of thing. His position was that he would facilitate the creation of 12 million jobs during his entire term, but at that time period, the forecast was for roughly 12 million jobs to be created regardless of who was in office, as a simple function of economic growth projections. He was manipulating statistics to his advantage. They both were. This is the exact same behavior we see right now from Ubisoft. Ubisoft wants to convey a positive decision and project an atmosphere of strength for their shareholders and their fans. They are claiming that the switch to the Epic Store was some massive success when in reality, it simply wasn't. The game is garnering support on its own merits, and the Epic Store has demonstrably driven many players away, which then resulted in 6 times the Uplay order numbers. Another reason Ubisoft is doing this is because it is obvious right now that switching from Steam to Epic, especially last minute, has massive negative connotations. Looking at Metro Exodus, the game has had some serious pains after making an out-of-the-blue exclusivity deal which barred Steam users from playing the game until 2020. The previous Metro series games were review-bombed actually, and the pre-order stats are not available to me, but the controversy alone was damaging, and it is readily apparent why Ubisoft would want to spin their current position into one of positivity and strength. My argument is that this is a damaging practice. Ubisoft spinning a false narrative of success with Epic as the catalyst, or so they claim, is not beneficial to gamers because Epic is not the catalyst. The game is the catalyst, Epic is a bystander, and if anything, a negative one. However, many development teams and publishers may look at this and see the spike in Uplay accounts, the influx of local platform orders for Ubisoft, and the claim that the pre-order numbers as a whole are up because of Epic, and then make a similar switch. Epic Games does not have a user-friendly launcher at the moment. It may in the future, who knows, but right now it is not in the best interests of average gamers to be corralled into either the Epic Store or some game-specific launcher like Origin or Uplay or Bethesda. Ubisoft is drawing false positives from a situation that, at least on the consumer side of things, should not be highlighted as a glowing success because it will lead to further instances like Metro Exodus. Statistics can paint almost any picture. For some reason, Ubisoft has chosen to paint this one, and it's up to the consumers to realize it's inaccurate and help stave off what could turn into a feedback loop of development teams and publishers sucked into a perceived beneficial relationship with the Epic launcher, which actually turns out to be negative for everyone. That's all for today though. Stay vigilant everyone. Ubisoft taking this position is not unexpected, but it should be accurately evaluated and discussed. But I'll cut it there and I'll stop rambling. Check out the links down below. We have esports merchandise, various gaming communities, and some more stuff too. But that's enough for today. As always, thank you all for watching and have a nice night.